My name is Daniel, and I'm just a casual racer, and today I got a little bit of an early preview to show off to you guys, and that is Nukedrop Track's Autodromo di Modena, set in 1970, and then Historic Sim Studios' 1970 Ferrari 312b. And so this car was actually developed in real life at this circuit. So Ferrari used to test at this airport in the mornings and afternoon evenings when their flights weren't coming in and out, and they would test on this track, and they actually developed in the late 60s the 1970 Ferrari 312b, and that's what I'm driving here. And so both these are early preview versions. The Historic Sim Studios, the Ferrari 312b I'm driving right now, is we're going to work on trying to polish up some of the rough edges you'll notice around some of the gauges and buttons, as well as the mirrors, as well as doing some material work to improve the visual reflections and things like that. And then, of course, this is an early access version of Modena as well. So both these are going to get additional work, but the really cool thing is where you can find these tracks. So both Tyrone and myself, we're working together, and this is a collaboration between Nukedrop Tracks and Historic Sim Studios, and you can get both the track and the car on each other's respective Patreons. So if you are a supporter of either Nukedrop Tracks or Historic Sim Studios, then you can find both of these projects to test out and try out, and we'd love to get your feedback on it, and they're really cool. I'm really enjoying this collaboration. I get along great with Tyrone. He's a great guy, and it's been a real pleasure to put this together for you guys. And then, of course, just this pack itself, just the cars, been really, we just released the BRM that's in the field here, P153 from 1970, and that car is being developed, also in early access, and going to be developing a few more 1970 F1 cars as well, such as the Lotus and the De Tomaso. And so, going to have a nice little field. I also have the Race Sim Studios 1970 Formula One car, which is based on the March. So that's filling out the field here. So there should be a really nice collection, and we're going to work hard on really updating these cars and bringing them up to a really high standard. For example, right now the wings on the Ferrari already move based on your setup choices, and we're going to be adding that to the BRM. And then, of course, we're going to have, animated feet. We're going to have, hopefully, fuel moving in the fuel lines, and lots of cool, features we're going to throw on as these projects move, continue to be developed. Move over here. Go into the hairpin here, the end of the runway. A little bit of room there to go off the edge, but up into 7th here. It's 5 laps, so not a super long race here, but there are no real F1 Grand Prix events after 1961. There was some Formula Junior stuff and things like that, all the way into like 1972 when the Ferrari opened up their test track across from their factory. But in the late 50s and even into like 1961, there actually were some non-championship Grand Prix events here. So, wouldn't have been a 1970 race here with like F1 cars like I'm doing right now, but still, it's a lot of fun to do. I mean, that's the whole point of sim racing, right? You get to do things that maybe never were done, or revisit past races, that you get to revisit history. So I love the kind of different ways you can approach it, and this has really been a lot of fun for us. So, details here, let's talk about the track real quick. I love the way these building details here as we look in the distance along the track. Some of the better things, he's got 3D grass Tyrone's placed around the track, which helps to give a real good look to the circuit. It's an airport circuit, right? It's flat. There's not a lot of detail to the track in real life, but grandstands look great. The city setting looks great. As we roar down, it's got both layouts. It's got the outer layout around the circuit, which is a lot faster, and then it's got the full layout here, which we're racing. Let's go up the inside here. Lead on the brakes. Get it turned in. And there we go. Up into 5th. Maybe we can get a podium here. So come to the end of the 3rd lap. And then once again, here you can see the buildings. There's a church off in the distance right there. Just really looks nice. Interesting to see if textures get improved at all, or exactly some of the, fine-tuning that might happen over the next few months that Tyrone will do to this track. But, yeah. In terms of the car now, the Ferrari, and the BRM, the entire 1970 F1 project we got going on is being led by Emil Anderson. He joined Story Sim Studios primarily to get some help, and also just because I thought it'd be a great, partnership working with him on these 1970 F1 cars. He did a lot of work on the 1972 McLaren Indy car that we have, and so I think that's one of our better cars that we have. It's a lot of fun to drive, and it's really nice because Emil, it's just a shout out to him. A lot of times I have to do almost all the physics work on these cars, all the coding, and Emil does a lot of the heavy lifting. I still did like the tires, and I refined the force feedback, which I think is quite good on both of these cars. But yeah, Emil, other than that, and doing some testing and feedback, Emil really handled the rest of the physics work. And so it's just really enjoyable when you have someone that can kind of take some, I guess, load off your shoulders a little bit. So I'm real grateful for Emil for doing that. It also makes it real fun. Like, I've been driving these cars the last couple of days. It's a lot of fun driving some cars that I haven't, worn out my welcome on, if that makes sense. Like, so many cars I will drive for 100 hours, I don't know, 120 hours to develop the physics for them. And you get really used to them. And sometimes you're like, I don't want to revisit that car for another couple months. With these, they're a lot fresher. And so I'm really enjoying it. And if you enjoy the physics, give a shout out to Emil. I think he's done a great job with these cars. Coming around for the final lap here. Not been able to seal the deal on the other Ferrari. Brakes on here. Locked him up. A lot of smoke. Woo. Wheel up on the tail there. Winding it through the chicane here. The circuit is... It's a club circuit, right? I think Formula Juniors, right? For example, F3 Classic tracks, Sergio's Formula 3 or Formula Junior cars would be amazing around this circuit. We're actually working another car for him, so we got the Cooper coming out soon, and it's going to be kind of a whole nother level, hopefully, for those Formula Junior cars. But I digress. But yeah, I think the Formula Juniors could be great around the circuit. Some lower, horsepower sports cars. Things like that could be a lot of fun. Or even maybe, like I said, recreate some of those 1950 F1 races. For example, you got the Maserati F1 car that comes in Assetto Corsa. That could be a lot of fun, throw them around the circuit. So definitely a cool, different track. I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm real grateful to Tyrone for this collaboration, and I hope anyone that's coming over for maybe Nukedrop Tracks, maybe you'll consider subscribing and supporting us over at Story Sim Studios, because we really do appreciate the support. These car projects can cost, over $2,000 by the time, the cost for 3D models and stuff like that. Obviously not always the case, but they're not cheap, because, the whole point is trying to get my team, some finances, for doing this work. We're not trying to just be, I guess, the old school modding that you used to do back in R Factor 2. It's kind of what it takes to develop a mod anymore at a high quality level is not something that you can do on an amateur basis, really, unless you really do it out of labor of love, which I know there's guys like that. But Story Sim Studios, we're trying to put together a team and perhaps change things a bit for all of you and deliver some really cool cars for you. Just really awesome and grateful for the team that I have with me. For example, as I mentioned, Emil. Also really grateful for Tyrone partnering and getting this track. I mean, it's going to be exciting to have you guys driving it. And if you aren't supporting Nukedrop Tracks or Story Sim Studios, I encourage you to check out both of those. I'll have links down in the video description. But most of all, I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your week.